In this video, I'm going to be explaining the basics of the golf swing. So what are the important things? What do we need to be thinking about? And how can I make my life as a golfer stress-free and a little bit easier by having some good technique? So let's get into it. Let's just take a moment to say thanks a lot for watching. And if you can please like and subscribe and comment, that's going to really boost the engagement. It's going to help YouTube push this to more people, and it ultimately is going to help me grow. So thanks again for watching. I hope you're enjoying the video, and let's get back to it. So we're going to start this video just with the idea that you might know how to stand to the ball and how to grip the golf club. If you don't know those things, I do have some videos covering those topics off, so you can go back and look at those. And we're just going to start with the golf swing itself. So what you have to understand, and what all golfers should keep at their absolute core beliefs, the purpose of the golf swing is three things. So the first thing is you want to strike the ball before the ground. We want to make good contact with the golf ball, with the golf club. That's objective number one. Objective number two is point the club face in the right direction and control the direction of the golf ball. And objective number three is hit the ball far enough to play the golf course. If you keep those three things as your core beliefs, and if you ever work on your technique, it should always be working on one of those three things. And if you're working on something that doesn't affect one of those three things, you need to stop, reassess and start again, because you're venturing off path and you're probably working on something that isn't very helpful. Everything we talk about in this video is going to relate to one of those three things. The first thing, and where I would start with any golfer from beginner up to tour player, it's really important that we have a centered pivot and a centered turn. So if you were going to design a golf club that was just going to hit the ball consistently every time, it would be an arm that just sort of swings around a fixed point without any lateral movement or up and down movement, which is going to allow you to strike the ball consistently every time. So that fixed point is your head. What we're trying to do is make a backswing and a downswing whilst keeping our head very centered. We don't want any left to right or up and down movement if we can help. What we've got to try and do is get into our posture and make a turn where we stay very much over the ball. We want to feel like we're almost like as you swing back and get to the top of your swing, our shoulders are angled down, and I've not moved off the ball very much. I'm able to just like left shoulder's almost pointing down at the golf ball. As you make a centered backswing, it's then very easy to swing down and hit the ground ahead of the golf ball, which is exactly what we're trying to do in order to. So objective number one in our golf swing basics is make a centered turn. So that's centered. We don't want any lateral, because that's going to make it very hard to hit the ground in the right place. And we don't want any vertical, because if we come up, it's very hard to get under the ball. And if we go lower, then again, we're going to hit behind it and we're going to end up having to pull in. So as much as we can, we want to try and turn our shoulders, turn our hips around a fixed point, and that's going to allow us to strike the ball consistently. Objective number one. So my second golf swing basic is all about striking direction, and that is keeping a straight lead arm and a flat lead wrist. As a golfer, once we've got our centered pivot where our head is just rotating around an axis, what you have to understand is the golf club swings around our body on a circle, and our arm and our left wrist is like that, the radius of the circle. So we want to try and keep that radius, that left arm, in one fixed state. We don't really want it bending and extending as much as we can help it, because we just don't need that many moving parts in the golf swing. It's hard enough as it is. If we can take some things out, some moving parts out, then we're just going to be more consistent. That left elbow is a lever, which might give you more power, but actually it's probably going to hurt your consistency. And objective number one is strike the ball first every time. So let's just get the strike right. You're going to address the ball with a straight lead arm, and then your focus is going to be trying to keep that lead arm straight right until the very finish. And that is going to allow us to make consistent contact with the ground in the right place, make consistent contact with the ball. That's going to cover off objective number one. The flat left wrist is going to help us keep the club face pointing in the right direction. So hopefully you can see that my left wrist is basically parallel to the club face if I have a good grip. So when I swing, I want to try and get my left wrist to flat as early as possible, and then keep it flat for as long as possible. And what that'll do is that'll help us understand where the club face is pointing throughout the different parts of the swing. Controlling the club face is objective number two, and the club face basically determines 90% of the initial start direction. So if you get your left wrist flat and doing what it needs to do throughout the swing, then we're going to find ourselves hitting the ball towards the target quite often. What we're going to do when we swing, so we've got a centered turn, we've got a straight left arm, and I'm working my left wrist from its address position to flat as early as I can, and then I'm just going to hold it flat for as long as I possibly can. Centered pivot, straight left arm, flat left wrist. And I'm just going to hit the ball straight and straight and straight and straight and straight. I'm trying to take away some variables out of the swing as much as I possibly can. So not flexing and extending the left wrist too much, not straightening and bending my left arm too much, and not moving my head from side to side and up and down. It's all just helping us build a more consistent swing. The third thing and the final thing for the golf swing basics is the release of the club. So when I talk about release of the club, what we're going to do is that's throwing the right arm from bent to straight and extending the body into the finish position. In order to swing the club, our trail arm, or my right arm, is going to fold somewhat in the backswing and then extend on the way through. Now, we basically want to get our trail arm straight pretty much just as we strike the ball, if not just slightly after it. And then that right arm should stay straight again up until the finish. This is really important because that straightening of the right arm is what throws this club head. It creates the speed and the whip to the golf swing, and then making sure that we finish in an extended position with our hips extended, our arms extended, and our spine extended. Just make sure that we're going to hit the ball far and we're going to hit the ball high. We've got three basics there: strike, direction, and then power. And we've got three different ideas that we can go with to work on those three things. So we've got centered pivot, straight arm, flat wrist, and then the final thing is throw that right arm at the end. And if I didn't work on anything else other than those three things, even at my level as a pro, for the rest of my career, I would never end up too far away from shooting good scores. As a new player, we want to try and keep things simple as much as we possibly can. So just having those ideas and working on the three basics of the golf swing is going to help us keep us on that straight and narrow. We're not going to end up with too many wacky moves in our swing, and we're always going to be working on something that's going to help us improve our ball flight, and not just something in the swing that looks better and we're changing it for aesthetics and ego as opposed to something that works. This is like a perfect video and a perfect lesson for beginners. People turn up with all kinds of weird ideas and weird sort of swings generally in lessons, and they just I don't think they understand what they're actually trying to do with the golf club. What we're trying to do with the golf club is hit the ball before the ground, point the face in the right direction, and then swing fast enough to get the ball to the hole. That's it. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to look a certain way for those things to happen. But if we can work on some general ideas that are going to help us complete those three things, then that's exactly what we should do. So centered pivot, straight arm, flat wrist, then throw that right arm. Yeah. That was great. So hopefully that's gone some way in simplifying the golf swing a little bit for you. There's three things we're trying to do with the golf club in order to hit good golf shots, and working on those three things that we've just talked about will hopefully help clear things up, help you hit the ball a bit straighter, help you hit the ball a bit further, help you score lower in your next game. Thanks very much for watching the videos. If you can please like and comment to boost the engagement, and subscribe if you don't already, that'd be great. If you like what I put out in these videos, you like what I say about technique, I can actually help you with your game no matter where you are in the world. So if you just want to click the link in the bio, it'll take you to Skillist, which is an online coaching platform, and there you can look to see what I do, and actually I can help you with your game. So analyze your swing, give you some drills and tips to help you improve, so we can work together to help you lower your handicap.